And I don't want to pick on Joey Bosa for always being injured. Like, football is very demanding, and people get hurt. I don't care if you're big. I don't care if you're small. If you're out there and you're repeatedly putting in high-effort reps and people are hitting you while you're trying to do your job, whatever it may be, you're going to get injured at some point. And I respect the hell out of anyone who gets injured and then devotes so much time and effort to get back to full health so he can throw himself right back into the fray where he's going to get injured again. And Joey Bosa's had plenty of injuries over the course of his career, and that's our first item today. He's likely out until training camp with a calf injury. Unclear when it happened, but it happened. And it happens. And, you got a lot of Chargers fans rolling their eyes and saying, well, yeah, that's just par for the course. But, the Bills are adults. They know. And it's not like he's going to miss significant time. Now, when will the next injury be? Who knows? But that's the news. No OTAs for Joey Bosa as he gets properly acclimated to the Bills' defense. He ends up on the shelf until training camp.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's systemic, it seems like, at this point with Joey Bosa. That's where it stinks, because it just doesn't seem like he can ever kind of swipe this under the rug or put it in his rearview mirror to just go, hey, I'm healthy. I got an extended period of time here where I got over the hump. I've played 10, 12 games in a row, and I made it through a season, and now I got into an offseason healthy, and you can build on that, and it just hasn't been able to happen with Joey Bosa. We've had so many discussions like this over the years, right, Mike? And this is where sports medicine and some of this stuff is still not, all the way up to date with certain stuff. But when you start to have a bunch of injuries like Joey Bosa has, some of them have been major, as you know, it starts to, oh, wait, my hamstring's hurt. I hurt that. And then the next thing you know, oh, wait, I hurt my quad because my hamstring wasn't as strong. There's always a ripple effect. And that's seems to be what the problem is here. It's a guy that's had a foot injury a bunch through his career, right? So as soon as I saw calf, I just went, well, yeah, there's something going on down there. But it stinks because he's got big-time talent. I know he works. He's a worker. The Bosas love football. They love working out. And that's where you feel for the guy, and I do feel for the Buffalo Bills because I think they were hoping they might, strike gold with a guy that's better when he's at his best than $14 million a year type of defensive end, and he's got a little more talent than that. But can he stay on the damn field, Mike? That's going to be the big question all year.
And part of the reality is you get an injury at this stage of the offseason, it's not a lot of high-intensity stuff going on to cause the injury.
It's a little concerning.
Could be some natural dismay about how did this happen. And whatever we think about it doesn't matter. How about the guy in charge of the Buffalo Bills roster, Coach Sean McDermott? Here he is on the concern that arises from the latest Joey Bosa injury.
Listen, it is concerning. Durability, availability are key ties to our roster. And so, we basically look ahead in terms of what he's doing now, which is getting himself the treatment that he needs, and he's working hard at it. And that's all that he can control right now. And, we get him back when we get him back, probably at this point, training camp. So, we're going to do the best job we can, and I know he is as well, and just take it one day at a time.
Just a whiff of frustration there, but also very blunt. Availability is a key to our roster, and durability is a key to availability. Now, the natural response to that is, what did you expect? There have been availability and durability concerns for Joey Bosa's entire career. You knew this was going to happen at some point. Did you think he was going to show up and be healthy for the entire offseason program, the entire training camp, 17 regular season games, and all of the postseason, however far the Bills go? We knew at some point he was going to get banged up. I think that just kind of whiff of dismay from McDermott comes from the fact that it's happened now.
Yeah, right.
At a time when there was nothing going on by way of somebody facing him, unless they were doing Buck-Tooth Bandit up there, but facing him and potentially creating the kind of contact that could result in an injury.
Not crazy intense work like you're talking about. You're just about to get to a period where you go, hey, let's see our new team out here and what they're going to look like on the football field. Man, what's our D-line going to look like with Joey Bosa? So that's where I think, there's a letdown. There's a letdown. And this is going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think, for Sean McDermott. He might have to treat Joey Bosa different than most players if he really wants to make it work and get the best out of him in the regular season. I've been around guys like that in my NFL career. Yeah, injuries, blah, 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 have been plagued by it, but when they play, they're really good. Okay, coach is going to let them have a different approach with them. They might not practice all the time. They might only practice once a week. They might not play in the preseason at all. They might only practice on Thursdays in the regular season. Everything's going to just be, hey, this guy's a veteran. He knows how to play the game. He knows where to put his hands and knows what the calls are on defense. He doesn't need the reps during the week. We just need him to be healthy for the football game, right? And that's what I think they might have to get to. Like some of the receivers we see in football right now throughout the last few years, right? The ones that we always go, man, he's not practicing, but he plays. They're going to have to probably play it that way with Joey Bosa. But it stinks. It does. Because with him in the lineup healthy, their D-line looks pretty good. And the depth, the waves they can send at you, that's where Buffalo's becoming impressive. Is the O-line is really damn good. The D-line we saw, I think, take a step in the right direction last year. They added some draft picks, some free agent players, and you look at it and you go, ooh, they should be better. But that's where McDermott talks about that depth and needing to be available to be out there to get all out of his defense and his team.
By the way, Joey Bosa turns 30 on July 11, which sounds pretty old, says the guy who turned 60 in 11 days. but for football purposes, that's getting up there. For the position he plays, quarterbacks are the only ones where life begins at 30, and you enter this prime where you still got your physical abilities and you've seen so much from opposing defenses that you become this combination of superhero and supercomputer that reaches new levels of performance. For everybody else, they're just hanging on by the time they get to 30, except for kickers. They're just hanging on. And for Joey Bosa, that's the challenge. And there really was, and this just shows you the value of a pass rusher.
Right.
There really was a ton of interest in his services when he was cut by the Chargers. Now, he didn't get a gigantic pile of money, but he got a pretty good contract when you consider the history. But, the Bills can't be surprised because big guy like him has gotten hurt multiple times and something happened, and training camp will be here in a month and a half, 2 months, something like that, and he's good to go. But I feel like if I'm the Bills, I'm just bracing myself for the next shoe to drop, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I hear you. They drafted Landon Jackson, who's long as hell, like a Gregory Rousseau from Arkansas. That'll mean they're going to have to depend on him a little bit. You talked about Joey Bosa, and there was a market for him, because, again, I think like we were saying earlier, when he's healthy, he stands out still. He's that type of guy. He is. And I think everybody was interested but gauging what was the price tag going to be. And then I think a bunch of teams fell out of it because they were like, oh, wait, he's going to get maybe a little bit more than I expected on the open market with all these injuries and all that. And then teams fell by the wayside. And we know there was a few still in it at the end. And Buffalo, of course, making the last big play. But, yeah, this is tough. And then it's tough not only for him personally. It's an injury, Mike, that, you always worry about when you get to that old man age of 30 in the NFL locker room. It seems like it's only the 30-year-olds that pull calf muscles when it comes to NFL football. That is considered the old man injury. I mean, literally, you would be called old man when you pulled the calf muscle. I guarantee he got called that yesterday in Buffalo, as long as he wasn't in too bad of a mood and wasn't going to punch somebody for calling him that. But, yeah, he's going to have to deal with this. And like I said, I think they're going to have a completely different approach for this player to make him last throughout the year, and that's going to be interesting to see what McDermott does in that sense.
1 year, $12 million contract, fully guaranteed, with another $510,000 available in per game active roster bonuses. So for every game he's in uniform, he gets $30,000 on top of the $12 million. He's got playing time incentives that can add another $1 million. He's got sack incentives that can add another $2 million. If he gets 12 sacks, he gets $2 million, and it's a formula that goes higher and higher as he gets more sacks. So.
Right.
They didn't give him a massive contract. We're going to talk about Hassan Reddick in a little bit. Hassan Reddick got more guarantees out of the gates. But there's value there. There's a history of performance, but there's also the history of injury, which may have influenced, at the end of the day, why the number was what it was. And look, here we are starting OTAs, and Joey Bosa not available because of the calf injury. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.